Test, test, check 1, 2. You know you need unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Does that sound all right? Ah, that's better. You can always tell something's missing when you get isolated results, like AI that's only right for one of your systems. Get AI that can work across your data and applications. Learn more at IBM.com. The AI built for business. IBM.
The Abercrombie Kids Summer Sale is in full swing, with up to 50% off select styles for the season. Summer plans, vacation, and camp days are all covered, with new dresses, shorts, tees, and swim. Abercrombie Kids has the summer staples they need and the looks that they want to wear. Shop in-store, online, or in the app. Offer applies to select styles as indicated. Discount applied at checkout online.
I think you're on mute.
Workday starting to sound the same?
I think you're on mute.
Find something that sounds better for your career on LinkedIn. With LinkedIn Job Collections, you can browse curated collections by relevant industries and benefits, like flex PTO or hybrid workplaces, so you can find the right job for you. Get started at linkedin.com/jobs. Finding where you fit. LinkedIn knows how.
Mega is an improvised satire from the staff of a fictional megachurch.
We are here, the Lord, we are here, and we're ready to podcast.
Hiya, I'm Halle Labont, and this is Mega, coming to you from Twin Hills Community Church, where every single week we're giving our mega church a tiny family feel. And per usual, I'm joined by my co-host. He's the youth pastor for our high school ministry called Climax. Please welcome Gray Haas.
What is up? Christ fills my cup. Halle, how are you?
Blessed, my brother. And I'm so glad you brought up Christ filling up your cup,
Oh,
because isn't that exactly it? Even when it's only half full, it's half full
I mean,
from Christ.
yeah, it is so true, Halle. And, you know, I always say that Christians look at a cup always half full, don't they?
Oh, definitely. Well, we look at things through the lens of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control.
That is right.
You know, that's what we're always striving for. There are days where, I'll have a blue mood.
Oh, really? What kind of days are those?
When everything's going wrong and, you embarrass yourself or you fill your pants or, things that you just don't foresee. Or maybe some loved one fills their pants and you're the one left cleaning it up.
I just don't understand. Well,
things
Halle,
like that.
yeah, I don't really experience that because, for me, everything is always positive when it comes to Christ and Jesus specifically. And there is very little that gets under my proverbial skin because all I have to do is think about my cup. It's not half full, Halle. It's overflowing with the love and grace of Christ.
Wow, that is awesome. Overflowing is like...
Well, sometimes could be a mess, couldn't it?
Well, yeah. I clean up a lot of messes as a mom. You got to know. I mean, you don't even know, I should say.
Right.
Well, maybe do.
I think you kind of probably referred to that earlier, and I don't want to know.
Well, I first want to say thank you to all of our friends who are here in the chat, giving us suggestions for our improv as we're improvising this episode.
That's right. Those people, of course, are Supercast members. That means they support the podcast and get ad-free and behind-the-scenes podcast. The best way to do a mega support maneuver, action, or loving gesture is, of course, heading to Supercast. That's mega.supercast.com.
And you know what? I hate to be the bearer of bad news because the gospel's such good news. But the truth is that there's a very real hell waiting for people who
don't join Supercast.
Exactly. And that might sound like a threat, but here goes the thing. God is the most loving being in all of creation. I mean, his love is so profound. It's like bigger than the cosmos.
Yeah, I think
you know what I mean?
It's overflowing.
And it absolutely grieves his heart, being the most loving being in the world, that he's going to have to send some people to very real hell because they just couldn't get on board with how much he loved them. And so they're torturing themselves, which,
Oh, yeah. And I agree with that, Halle. And I wanted to say that is something people keep bringing up lately, which is, is it a choice if you don't have a choice? And I'm going, what about free will? You have the free will to choose God, or you have the free will to choose hell. And I feel like that choice is very easy and very clear.
But are you saying that, somebody could say, well, I don't want to, hell isn't really a choice. Eternal torment
Yeah,
doesn't sound like a good choice.
right.
So if it's either be a Christian or be in eternal torment,
Mhm.
maybe what they're saying is, I don't like my choices. But
You know,
it's still a choice.
tough luck, buttercup.
And you know what? Sometimes you got to drink that prep solution for a colonoscopy. And you know what I mean? Your choice is to die of stuff in your butt or drink that stuff.
Yeah. So I think you're referencing something that you maybe talked about earlier, and I don't.
Well,
really-
all I'm saying is I would never want anyone to think that our suggestions for joining Supercast were anything but a loving invitation.
That's right.
It's not a threat.
But you do only have two choices: to not join or to join.
And if you join, I'm not saying that like the Supercast, list of members is, the book of life at the pearly gates.
Right.
I'm not equating those two at all. But if you were up there at the gates of heaven and Peter, a lot of times they say it's Peter at the gate. I
Yep.
don't know why that is.
Yeah, I don't know why
It
that
could
is.
be anyone. For me, I believe it's going to be Jesus because he knows I have been waiting for one of his hugs my whole life because I just know his hug is going to be like, forget about it.
I always thought it might be Zacchaeus.
Waiting for you?
Yeah, on the top of the gate. Wouldn't that be fun?
He climbs up to the top of the gate.
And he's going, hello, hello, welcome. You're on the list. And I'm going, oh, I'm glad you're up there.
But here's the thing. I don't know that Zacchaeus will be short in heaven because we know
right.
that we're going to have perfect bodies.
But I think
no
Jesus loved him
IBS.
because he was short.
Well, it just depends because, what if Zacchaeus wants to be tall in heaven? Like, I don't want to keep having breast reductions in heaven.
Well,
I think
going back
that
to your previous point, Halle, sometimes you don't have choices. You just, maybe Jesus was like, I kind of need you to stay that way. So
Well, how will people recognize me if I don't have these big bazoombas? But I don't want them in heaven. They're heavy. I get dents in my shoulders from my over-the-shoulder boulder holder. And so I'm just saying, if you see a tall man who's climbed up on top of the gate, that too could be Zacchaeus.
Okay.
But he's in his tall man. Maybe he wants to dunk in heaven.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I mean?
You're
But
right.
also maybe in heaven, the basket comes down. You know what I mean? Like those Fisher Price ones in the driveway. But I just want to tell you that if you become a member of Supercast for Mega and I'm in heaven, when you come up there, if there's any discrepancy, I'm here to tell you that I will come out of heaven. I'll rip myself out of Jesus's incredible bro embrace. And the only
And
reason
check the tape.
and I will say, you know what? Kristen was a MegaCast supporter. I'm going to say that Jerry was. I'm going to name all of you. Elise, I'm going to, and I'm going to, it's going to be like, the hot girl coming out of the club begging the bouncer to let her friends in. You know what I mean?
Well, the hawker coming out of the club probably wouldn't have a breast reduction. But anyway, that's just from a guy's perspective, isn't it? And of course, I do think, as I said in last week's episode, spiritual qualities are important. Aesthetic qualities are also important. And that is why right now, I'm dating just a wonderful lady. Yes, she's got an incredible spiritual life, just a perfect spiritual life. And she's got a nice body too, Halle, but that's because she keeps herself really fit.
Oh, yeah. Don't she and her triplet sisters all do, what do they do? Do they do bodybuilding competitions?
Well, Tiffer and Mickey are YouTube bodybuilders, yes.
That is so cool. What does it mean to be a bodybuilder? Just that you get real muscly?
Well, it means that you have 2 seasons in your life. You have bulking season and you have cutting season.
Okay.
And bulking season, you can eat whatever you want.
Oh,
Because
wow.
you're trying to build muscle as fast as you can possibly build it, mass as fast as you possibly can build it.
And can you build it with anything like fettuccine Alfredo and English muffins?
Well, now this is up for debate. Some people do that. Tiffer and Mickey were doing that, and I advised against it because honestly, I think it's a bit of a turnoff when a lady eats like that. And so I just said, look, look, if you're going to bulk, maybe don't bulk with ice cream and things like that. You can have a little treat from time to time, but think about bulking with more positive things. And then cutting season is when you're essentially starving yourself just to get down to that perfect body weight while also maintaining lean muscle mass.
Well, then what's the point in bulking up if then you're going to lean it down?
Fat burns faster than muscle, Halle.
Oh.
And I've really thought about starting a fitness podcast because most of the emails that I get to Mega are all about, how do I get the gains that you're getting? And I'm going, well, guys, you should really be asking me about your walk with Christ. But a lot of people also do want to know about what I'm doing to, ostensibly get to the point that I'm at. And that is, pretty peak right now.
Are you in bulking season or are you in cutting season?
I'm always in cutting season.
Is that right?
I've never really needed to bulk because, what I do is instead of having a full season of bulking and then a full season of cutting, I divide my day into bulking and cutting. So I'm bulking.
Every time you eat?
Well, no, from 3 a.m. to 6 a.m., I bulk. From 6 to 9, I cut, and then I go back and forth. And so my day is essentially divided into, 6 3-hour blocks. And then one of those, I tack on, or actually it's more like 7 3-hour blocks. And then one of those, I tack on a few more hours just to cut some more.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't listen to the majority of that because it didn't make a ton of sense to me. But I was just going to ask, if you're only cutting and never bulking, wouldn't you eventually disappear? Which would be awesome for a woman. Oh, that's the goal.
What do you mean?
I mean, well, I feel like growing up in America, basically what women are encouraged to do, to be as feminine as possible, to be as, pleasing as possible, to be all the things, that make a girl, a woman, a lady, is, to keep dieting and cutting, I guess you would call it, to the point where we're so small, frail, and weak that, we kind of know our place and sort of keep quiet.
Yeah.
Don't cause a lot of problems, to the point where if one of us just entirely disappeared, I mean, I think that's the ultimate goal is
really?
If you're sitting at book club and there's an empty seat next to you and you hear someone quietly whimpering invisibly beside you about maybe not having finished the book and you're like, oh, Diane, you look great. And you just realize that Diane finally, reached the ultimate point where like she cut so hard, she cut herself right out.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have never thought about that, but that would be a goal. # goals.
Jif peanut butter. It's that jiffing good, it doesn't really need advertising. So instead, enjoy the calming sounds of the ocean. Jif. Ooh, it's that jiffing good. Get your Jif at Jif.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
So Father's Day was not too long ago, and it was amazing. We had, of course, my friend, I'm not sure if I mentioned him before, Clay Mason Bannerman is a dad. And so...
And a granddad.
It's more of a dad. And I did really want to make that special for him and his son, Popsicles. And so we got him an amazing, amazing gift, Halle. It was just, honestly, it brought tears to his eyes when he opened it.
Awesome. What was it?
We got him two things. The first thing we got him, and it's something that he's wanted for quite a long time. And I've seen him, perusing the magazines, just really hoping and wishing that someone would buy something from the magazine for him. And I finally got it for him. It is a quick action fast loading, multiple round muzzle loader black powder rifle.
Wow.
So
That's a lot longer than a Red Ryder. I'll tell you that.
And
I
it
couldn't
just-
follow most of it.
It's just really, it's so fun because he's got friends. They love to go to the shooting range, but he wants to feel like he's in the Revolutionary War and do all the, powder in the thing. And this one is one that shoots, he wants to do the ripping thing and the whatever. I don't really get into it, but I finally got that for him, and Popsicles gave it to him, and Popsicles calls him Tip Top. And
Oh, really? That's his grandpa name? Like a lot of people go Poppy or T-Pop or, all kinds of like.
Right. He calls him Tip Top. And I don't,
Tip-Top,
I
that's
don't
cool.
know why, other than I guess he is the tip top guy in his life. And
That's cool.
And so that was really great. And then, of course, to accompany the rifle, and this really wasn't from Popsicles, but I said it was, I got him what is the collector's edition of it's a fold out 6 compact discs of the musical Cats, because, and I'm not sure if I've mentioned this, Halle, but I'm actually, I'm doing a little project with Clay right now. We are both in a community theater production of Cats together.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow.
And, even though musical theater is not really my thing, and
No.
I've seen a lot of it, I am excited. There's been trouble, of course. The main thing is that we couldn't get the rights to Cats. And we've had to change it slightly. We're using all the same costumes. We're using all the same music, but we just had to change any reference to cat or cats to man or men.
Oh, well, that should be pretty simple.
Yeah. So
they can still have their names like Metastophocles, but it's a guy instead of a feline?
exactly.
Okay,
And
cool.
so, the songs I like, oh, well, I never have I ever seen a man so clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles. Clay is Mistopheles. I'm the Rum Tum Tugger. And it's just, I've got to come out and I've got to, and I guess it calls into some questions of in what world do men or men are just wearing cat suits and then going about their day jobs? Because, you have Skimbleshanks, the railway man, which doesn't seem that odd until he comes out, and then it's a man in a cat suit. But yeah, I play the Rum Tum Tugger, and I'm a curious man.
That's cool.
The Rum Tum Tugger is a curious man. That's the
Keep going. What's next?
If you offer me pheasant, I'd rather have grouse. Dum 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 dum. So it's been fun. It's all for the production is just one weekend. It's all for charity. No, Halle, sorry, the tickets are sold out. You can't come.
Oh no, I'm coming. I'll stand in the back.
No, I'm sorry, it's sold out. But I'll, maybe I'll send you a TikTok or something of it. But
I'll
I mean,
find
I
some
really
fun
can't
stuff.
wait. It is fun.
That's so cool.
Just to show everyone the breadth and width of my talent.
Oh, there's breadth and width?
Well, in those costumes, you can, yeah.
Oh,
basically
man,
everything.
that's cool. I'll tell you what, Gray, I feel like this is an incredible opportunity for you to be exposed to a whole new community of people who, guess what, need to hear about Jesus. It's not just these P90Xers at the CrossFit who need to hear
very
about
different
Jesus.
things, Halle. That's like saying the Presbyterians to the Baptists or something.
Oh, really? The P90 doesn't go with the CrossFit?
No.
Oh, really? What are they doing if they're not doing P90 in there?
Well, do you want me to really get into that? This is the type of question I would get on my workout podcast if I had it. But you don't want to get me into all the differences between P90X and CrossFit.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll just suffice it to say, then it must be, if it's equivalent to Baptist and Methodist, then it must mean that one of them, they're a little against clapping, but they still are good conservatives, and the other ones are a little too liberal, to be honest.
Put it this way, P90X was created in California. So I think that's everything we need to know.
Oh, well, then it grieves the heart of God. But
and somebody in the chat did ask if it's an all-male production. Of cats, yes, it is. Because actually, there aren't very many lady pats in this production, and there aren't many
lady parts.
Well, you know what I mean. And then there are
lady parts.
I'm saying pats for ladies.
Oh,
in this.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about genitals.
Well, they're not in this production either. But I
good
think
point.
I think there are only maybe 1 or 2 cats in the Cats musical that are played by ladies. One sings that song "Memory," and we took that out because we thought it was too sad. This is going to be a positive production of men.
That's cool. And you know what? If you had female cats in there, it would get very perverted very fast because those cats like to put their hindquarters up and beg people to come jump on back. And it's sick.
Yeah.
And I feel like it gives young women ideas to see these female felines, acting like this.
I don't like the way they move. The way that we're, in the original, they try to move all cat-like. Not in this one. We're doing more stunts. We're doing more tumbles.
Oh, well, that's very masculine.
Exactly. In various parts, we pick up things or break things as the men. Of course, we are men in the cat suits, but these are strong, positive, aggressive cats, especially the Rum Tum Tugger in what I do in it.
Well, it seems like that's cool. So you're replacing cats with men,
yes.
But the men still have the qualities of the character of the original, the character bio of the cat. So like yours is curious. Another one is on the railroads.
Yes.
Well, these are all things that men have too. There are curious men.
Yes.
There are men who work on the rails.
Yes.
Who's CMB in the production?
He's Mephistopheles.
Now, what are his qualities?
He's magical. He's the magic one. He does a little he actually
Oh, so he's the cat who's like David Blaine, or like who's that cute Italian guy who does sleight of hand stuff on TV? I like him.
Oh, I don't know. Chris Angel?
No, he's a cute Italian kid who has a magic show, but it's illusion. We know there's no such thing as magic. We know that, Harry Potter is fiction.
Right. I don't know who you're talking about.
Kundalini. His name, he's on.
Oh, Michael Carbonaro?
Carbonaro.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I love a carbonaro pasta and I love a carbonaro illusionist. Carbonaro has a great TV show. He's funny. He freaks people out.
Yeah,
because,
he's great.
He'll be acting like he's in a coffee shop and he's pouring coffee, and he'll let go of the glass that he's pouring coffee into and it'll just be hovering in the air. It's illusion. I tell my kids all the time, there is no such thing as magic. But
Clay is Mr. Mistopheles.
So if you're playing men and not cats,
but we have the cat suits on.
So why are you still dressing up as cats?
Well,
if
because
you're playing men.
Because nobody will know what it is, Halle. We don't do that.
Okay.
And we still do the eyes. We still have the poster that has the cat eyes that says men.
Oh, cool. Well, I'll tell you what, if you and CMB are both doing it, Clay Mason Bannerman, you know who's going to try to get in your production. You better bar all the doors.
Donovan Geo.
Yeah. He's going to show up in his Y-fronts and try to audition to be a man dressed as a cat being a man.
Well, he kind of already does that in it. Too late, Halle. He's the stage manager.
Oh, no.
And it's been awful. It's been awful, truly. And he came in the other day and he was like, I'm here for the cats, but I'll stay for the men.
Oh,
and we were
sick.
like, guy, just shut up. And, sorry for that swear, but he stinks. And
what does he smell like?
Oh, actually, now that I think about it, he smells like he fell backwards into a bucket of Dracar Noir.
Dracar Noir?
Yeah.
I'm more of a polo gal.
But he's a nightmare. And now, of course, he's got that mall cop syndrome where he takes a little bit and he goes a long way. So now, he'll be going, don't touch the props. And I'm going, this is my prop, guy.
He's not the prop master. He's the...
Well, we don't have a prop master. He's kind of got to do it all.
Well, what does a stage manager do?
Well, that's a great question,
do they
Halle.
Do props?
Yeah, well, now in this production, he's got to do everything. He's also doing lights and he's also directing.
Oh, goodness.
And he's also conducting the orchestra, which is just what...
That's cool that you have an orchestra.
Well, it's not really an orchestra. It's a guy on guitar. We've got guitar, accordion, violin, a guy that plays mouth harp, and then...
Oh, cool. Well, I know you can bang it out on the bass. Are you playing the bass?
Well, I can't do everything, Halle. And then we have a guy on an electric drum kit.
I think it would be cool to see a man-sized cat playing bass. I think that would be cool.
Yeah.
Do you have a solo?
Do I have a solo?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can we hear a selection from
Yeah,
it?
I'd say that. That's the Rum Tum Tugger is a curious cat. If you offer me pheasant, I'd rather have grouse. Dun 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 dun.
But you said curious cat.
Oh, right. Curious man.
You just have to change everything
Yeah.
cat to man.
Yeah. If you put me in a house, then I'd rather have a mat. If you put me in a mat, then I'd rather have a house. If you put me in a box, then I'd rather have a box. If you put me in a cat, then I'd rather have a mouse. Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Do you have to change the rhyme a lot? If you're
No, those are the
changing cat
lyrics.
to man, I think it's easy to rhyme with cat, as you just showed. But, then do you have to come up with new rhymes to rhyme with man?
You know, it's funny. Nothing ever rhymed. I don't think in the entire musical did Andrew Lloyd Webber ever rhyme cat with anything, which is funny because cat is the most rhymable word, isn't it?
It is so rhymable. I'm trying to think of rhymes with man right now, and there are very few. You
Yeah,
got pan, and that's about it.
Well, tanned.
You got lamb, but that really ends with a B, and I feel like that messes it up.
Anyway, Halle, enough about the production of Men. It's going to be fun. We're raising money for charity, which is great. But again, tickets are sold out. Sorry about that. And I
Well-
don't get comps. So don't ask.
Well, maybe I'll tell you what, my son Day, he's what's called a digital native, where he knows how to do things online that someone my age doesn't know how to do, doesn't even know is a function. He the other day walked up to my phone and he just dragged the album art to the side and it skipped to the next song. And I was like, what on earth? I thought you had to hit the arrow.
Oh, right.
I guess there's multiple ways to skin a cat. I don't know.
Or a man.
Any hoodles, my son Day, he can do anything. He can get us day passes last minute to Dave and Buster's. He'll be able to secure me a ticket to your show. I guarantee you. He gets online, he gets on the dark web or whatever it's called. And the next thing I know, I've got tickets.
Well, speaking of dark web, Halle, I wanted to bring up with you because I'm a little concerned about this lady that Day is dating, and I call her the Dark Knight, because the other day I'm going into Climax and they're all playing a game that I do not like.
Oh, no.
And that is, have you ever heard of this game, Never Have I Ever?
Oh, no. I have heard of it. It sounds like a sleepover party game, along the lines of light as a feather, stiff as a board, Ouija, and all these other things that grieve the heart of God. Is Never Have I Ever something where you make each other do stuff?
Never Have I Ever is a game where you have to sit in a circle and they say things like, never have I ever blank. And it could be like, never have I ever, and I'm trying to think of some of the ones, that I overheard while I was hiding behind the phones.
Oh, no.
And one of them was, never have I ever.
Well, I could play this game so easily. Never have I ever doubted God. Never have I ever had sex outside of the bonds of marriage. Never have I ever, not loved Jesus. Never have I ever not had Christian rock playing in my Lexus.
Yeah,
This is easy.
Well, it's easy for you, Halle, but even when they say things like that, if they have done those things, for example, doubted, the love of Jesus, then they have to jump up and run around the circle and try to find a new place to sit down.
Oh, okay.
Put it this way, Halle, every time someone said never have I ever, everyone was jumping up and
Wait.
running around.
Meaning that they've all done the thing?
Yeah.
What
it
were the things they were saying? What
Well,
were they?
Well, I couldn't really hear from where I was, hiding behind the phone because I didn't want to go and completely interrupt it because I was actually running late and I was still in my Rum Tum Tugger costume.
Oh, and
So
if
I
there's a
get-
fern to hide behind, do it because you're going to hear a more authentic version of what these kids are saying. You're
And
not
I don't
gonna-
want to jump out from behind a phone in a man suit and, it would just be too much explaining. But I heard, I definitely heard the word fingering.
What?
And I was like, I hope that's about the potatoes.
Yeah. Those fingering potatoes are.
They are really
Delicious.
good. I'll give myself
I
one
can-
fingering potato a year.
Oh, really?
One a
That's
year.
a lot of carb for you.
Well, when I'm in my bulking 3 hours once a year, I will eat a fingering potato.
And how do you do it? Because you can roast them, you can mash them,
I just take the skin off and I throw the inside away.
and you eat it raw.
Well, I'll toast the skins.
Oh, a raw toasted fingering is, even if you only get it once a year, it's worth it.
Hey, it's Paris. You know I love sparkly things, right? Like stars. Duh. And thanks to Hilton and AutoCamp, I just slept under them. Picture me, serving looks by the fire outside my luxurious Airstream, making s'mores with the kids, while a national park is our backdrop. The great outdoors meets Hilton hospitality. That's hot. Explore all the new ways to stay at Hilton.com. Hilton for the stay.
My day kicks off with a refreshing Celsius energy drink, then straight to the gym. Pre-K pickup, back home to meal prep. Time for my fire station shift. One more Celsius, gotta keep the lights on. When the 3-alarm hits, I'm ready. Celsius. Live, fit, go. Grab a cold, refreshing Celsius at your local retailer or locate now at Celsius.com.
So I'm just concerned about this lady that Day is hanging out with, the Dark Knight.
Oh, yeah. Day.
And I'm glad he's bringing her to climax. But, you know, she just looks like she's straight out of looks like she's been conducting some kind of ceremony in a dark wood somewhere.
Well, she dresses like Wednesday on Netflix, and I think it's sick.
Yeah.
She's very dark and brooding. I'm positive she's a Wiccan, even though the time that I brought it up to her, she asked me what I was talking about and what that meant.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to educate them if they don't know.
She said, "What is Wiccan?" And she seemed very inquisitive and sincere. And I was like, oh, this girl's good. She is trying to pull the wool over my eyes and in a way, but her last name is Knight.
Yeah.
Knigth.
Yeah.
And Day has always said that if he ever gets married, he's going to take the lady's name in some kind of disgusting, feckless attempt at balancing the world's tables or something. Just because 69 million American women have all changed their name to be not to be named after the man they were named after on the day they were born, but to switch and be named after a new man on the day they get married. Day has said, if I ever get married, I'm going to take my wife's name.
Well, that's going to be a feckless marriage.
And I'm not even sure what feckless means. And it sounds a little too close to a curse word. And I would like to withdraw it from the record and forgive my French. But I say Day all the time. I'm like, you got to kick this gal to the curb because so your name's going to be Day Knight. Yeah. I mean, no, thank you. This is, people need to have names like New Testament names.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We don't need the Ishmaels and the X's of the Old Testament. We need Matt, Mark, Luke. I'll even give you a Lucas if you want to put an S on the end of the Luke. That's fine.
Well, sometimes I think Day has even brought this up to me, which is, isn't it weird that in the Old Testament, people have names like Jehoshaphat or Ishmael or Malachi. But in the New Testament, it's Matt, John, James. And I'm going, I don't think that's weird at all.
No.
He goes, what you think suddenly like everyone in the Fertile Crescent just started having new names?
All of a sudden it sounds like a roll call at a Harvard class.
And I'm like, buddy, just look at the kids around you. And I don't like to name names, but your grandparents had the names Rose, Herbert, Humphrey, Ethel. And the kids around you have the names Duplex, Bagel, Epiphany, Stanchion, and Dulcet. And I'm going, yeah, the same country, same area.
And believe me,
different names. Names change over time.
Believe me, if some new parents in the Fertile Crescent a few thousand years ago wanted to mix things up, and instead of being, naming their kids something that is sort of unpronounceable and has too many like us in it or something, maybe they're like, I'm going to mix it up and I'm going to name this kid Matthew.
Yeah.
This baby in the Middle East needs a name that's going to help it be successful someday. Because this might be one of the 12 disciples.
Oh, I mean, I have a kid in Climax named Altoid. And I asked his parents, where'd you get that name? And they said, well, his grandfather's name was Alan. And we wanted something that honored his grandfather. And so we named him Altoid.
I guess he could go by Al.
Or, he goes, weirdly, he goes by Toyd.
That's the problem when these parents try to get fresh. Now, here's the thing. Jesus brought a new covenant. And so these New Testament guys, they were like, how about we get some like new sounding names that are going to help
God
us get into a good college.
God is doing a new thing in the New Testament. Am I right, Halle?
Isn't that right? Well, anyway, I've told Day a number of times that, he's not changing his name because he's got a Y chromosome.
Yeah.
And it's basically that Y chromosome. Who knows what would happen to it if you changed your name to be named after a woman? The Y chromosome could all of a sudden just like burst into flames and become extinct.
That's right.
And then the next thing he knows, he's got like, a limp body and is, joining a book club.
That's right. Speaking of limp body, I wanted to ask you, didn't you say that Lance was having some limp body syndrome this week?
As a result of his alpha-gal.
And what did Dr. Crisp say?
Well, Dr. Crisp, my dentist, sort of threw me for a loop this week because, he's a jack of all trades.
Master of none.
My Lexus was making a noise. He was able to fix that.
Oh, you got to call Dick Epps for that.
Oh, yeah. Well, Dick Epps had already been working on my Lexus because I poured an entire 12-ounce milky coffee all over the interior of my car. And I use whole whipping cream as my coffee creamer.
Well, I've always wondered why you keep whipping cream and Yoo-hoo in your office fridge.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Yoo-hoo is just for when I'm having a no milk day.
Oh, there's no milk in Yoo-hoo?
No, it's chocolate water.
Really?
Yeah. So on a day where I can't have chocolate milk, I have U2. U2. Oh, U2 is the one that keeps coming on in my car. That's the thing. U2 keeps coming on music in my car that I never downloaded. And, but it sounds vaguely Christian adjacent. I let it fly.
It keeps coming on in mine too. I don't know how to turn it off, so I just let it play. He just keeps saying elevate over and over. And I'm like, well, it sounds like heaven.
Speaking of your Climax kids playing Never Have I Ever, I'll tell you what, and again, keep that Never Have I Ever phrase away from Donovan Geo or you're never going to hear the end of it.
I know.
But my oldest daughter, she recently was playing Two Truths and a Lie with her best friend, Brandy. And I had to step in and I had to say, hey, girls.
Why did you sneeze at them?
I had to say, girls, and then I sneezed really hard.
Why?
I think because Brandy loads on the perfume.
Oh, really?
And I've never complained about it because it's so feminine.
Yeah.
And I'm wishing that my pipe fitter daughter would take a few notes from Brandy's page. And as you know, she's been like cutting her bowl cut smaller and smaller. So she doesn't have a cereal bowl on her head anymore. She basically has like a tiny little olive bowl on her head.
Yeah. I mean, it's even smaller than that.
But Brandy seems to like it. Now I've got Brandy cutting fitter's hair. Anyway, I says, hey, girls, I understand, Two Truths and a Lie. You might have been introduced this game from other girls at your high school or whatnot, but we don't really want to be putting any time into practicing lies, even if it's in a game setting. You
That's
know
right.
what I mean? Because it'll just wire your brain. And the next thing you know, you'll be like one of these liberals who don't understand the difference between a truth and a lie.
Isn't that true?
I sneeze most of the time that Brandy's over at our house.
Well, what does Dr. Crisp say about that?
Oh, well, he put me on an antihistamine, which helped because, I have a few cats that I'm feeding outside and I'm highly allergic. But Crisp really threw me for a loop this week when I was having some real dental issues. And Crisp is my primary dentist, even though he's capable of so much more. But he gave me a referral to a dentist for some of my oral needs. And I was like, well, you're my dentist,
Oh, yeah. Why couldn't he just take care of it?
Well, at this point, he was, elbows deep underneath the hood of my Lexus working on something. So maybe he just thought I got too much grease under my fingernails to dig into your gums at this point.
Well, it happened not too long ago, speaking of olives. And I know I mentioned before, but my friend Clayman was trying to open a jar of olives with his teeth. And one of his molars cracked in half.
Oh,
luckily, Dick Epps was at our house. Of course, he was at our house installing a soft tub.
Oh, awesome.
And
I love a hot tub. I love a soft tub.
yeah. And well, I'm sorry. When I say soft tub, yeah, I think I'm thinking of something different. Anyway.
Is it like a hot tub outside, but shorter and softer with no hard seats in it?
That's what you have.
I have a soft tub. It's nice. It's like I get in there and I cook myself like I'm some hard spaghetti pasta in a bowl of boiling water.
Yeah, this is something. It's for popsicles. I guess you would call it a kiddie pool that can heat up that also locks, so they will stay in there. But
does Popsicles want to get in with his grandpa Fitbit?
Well,
or Tip Top?
He wants to. No, we want to put him in the kiddie pool in a safe environment that he can't get out of. So it essentially has a gate around it.
Oh, so you lock him in the pool?
Yeah, you lock him in the pool. Anyway, he was putting that in, and Clay cracked his tooth on a can of olives, a jar of olives, and luckily Dick Epps was able to give him a full crown and put a brand new beautiful tooth in the back of Clay's head.
Oh, that's good, because man, does it hurt when you crack a crown. Now, did he crack it by eating an olive that had a pit in it, or did he crack it by eating the jar that the olives are in?
The second one.
Oh, yeah. Your teeth are not a tool. I tell my kids this every day.
If you would like the Mega VIP treatment and listen ad-free, just go to mega.supercast.com. We would love it if you did. Become a member. Do it. It'll feel so good. I'm Holly Laurent playing Hallie Levant, and that over there, that's Greg Hess playing Gray Haas. Thanks for listening.